number one, Cade is really risk averse, doesn't turn the ball over much. Hassan Haskins, up until this game, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but he hasn't fumbled the ball, all season. And then you also talked about like getting a punt blocked. I'm like, Michigan hasn't had a punt blocked all season. So you're not needing one of those things to happen. You need all of them to happen in the same game. Like, that's just like the odds say that that's just not going to happen, and if it does, you're not going to get all of them. Like, you're going to get a punt block, Hassan's going to fumble, and Cade's going to throw a pick all in the same game. Like, it just, I didn't see that happening, which is why I picked my score prediction what it was. I mean, I picked a 25-point win. They ended up winning by more than that. But I just thought,
I asked Corey that. I'm like, like defensively, I mean, I can see you guys being solid, but I mean, offensively, how are you guys going to be able to score enough to keep up with Michigan? And, I think that's one thing you saw in the second half. And they even made a quarterback change that, Corey thought would happen, putting in Padilla. And, like, it's just, it was obvious they were just trying to find any kind of spark, offensively. And it just, and that's when the game just took, they went from, was it Patras? How you say his last name for Iowa? Petras, who was a much better thrower of the football. But like you say, he's a statue back there. And he at least helped them move the ball a little bit at times, a couple of decent drives. They couldn't get in the end zone. So when they put in Padilla, even though he was more athletic, they got even less efficient on offense. And then they start having 3 and outs, and it just spiraled from there. And then eventually, it's hard. It's hard as a defense, when your offense is literally giving you nothing to like not break after a while. And yeah, man, it was it was a thorough complete game by Michigan. And that's with Cade, to me, not playing very well. I thought Cade was, very, very spotty today with his throws. He was still overall, I think, steady. But he was not. He compared to how he's played the last couple of weeks, I thought his accuracy was a little bit off today, which can happen. But got to be better in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too, and we'll get to, kind of the playoff talk and what we think is gonna, hammer out, because I believe tomorrow at noon is when the final rankings are released. But yeah, I agree. He didn't miss a ton of throws because he finished 16 to 24. So, he didn't miss a ton of throws, but I did feel like some throws were there that, he just was off a little bit, like the Eric All, throw that ended up getting intercepted. I still think that's a drop by Eric All. Like, he's got to catch that
for sure.
You're a high level Division I tight end. Like, you've got to make that catch.
I think he'll be on the next level. I think he has the size for it and everything like that. He's a nice tight end.
Yep, you gotta make that catch. But yeah, I would agree. Cade seemed a little bit off. I think Michigan got into some obvious passing downs, and Iowa started bringing some pressure and started getting in his face a little bit, and I think that kind of threw him off. I obviously didn't help him any, but overall, look, 42 points, and no one's to argue and be upset with that.
No, that's not what we're doing. We're just we're just thinking about overall. I thought Cade was, compared to how he's been. He's been playing so well because with Cade, he doesn't make bad decisions normally. He doesn't really turn the ball over, and he's actually, even though he doesn't have the strongest arm, he's pretty accurate when he's on. And so that was the thing I just noticed today. Like, he wasn't quite as accurate, with his touches and stuff like that. But one thing I will say is that, how they bring in JJ, and ironically, one of the plays that brought in JJ in that package they like to do turned into a huge touchdown by boy Corum. For one, great blocking, Corum making the guy miss, incredible cut to get to the outside. No JJ didn't block anyone, but just to have the effort to the hustle to get down there and be kind of a shield, if you will, just to give Corum those extra couple steps that it took for him to get in the end zone. So I mean, that was incredible to see, and it was just I just can't just say enough good things. But what my point was about Cade is that I would like to see him use his legs more. You know, that was a play that they had in which they saw that Iowa was in man coverage and they motioned out Edwards, who they know is a threat in a passing game. And he immediately saw that the field was open in the middle and took off and ran. And I thought he looked pretty athletic, you know, decently athletic for running. I'm like, dude, you should run more. I mean, you're no statue back there. Like you can run.
You
When
can
I say
move. Yeah.
you can move, you know, like if you have a couple steps, you can get 6-7 yards if you wanted to. So I would like to see that if some progression. Maybe it won't happen this year, but some progression for Cade is that use his legs more, especially like if he's under pressure. You know, like because I see that he potentially could add that as a wrinkle into his game.
Yeah. And I mean, and you don't need it. You don't need it, 10, 15 times a game. Like, I mean,
No.
3 or 4 times, on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, you're able to scramble, get down, slide, get the first down like that. I mean, that's a backbreaker for a defense, especially one that, is thinking that I am defending a statue. So so I've got all my guys in coverage. We're not concerned with trying to spy your quarterback or anything like that. And then, he takes off, gets a first down. Like that's a backbreaker, for the defense.
So we see people pointing, yes, it was a designed play run.
Yeah, that draw. Yeah.
It was, but it's just the point that Cade is athletic enough. Like, because it's like this notion that JJ is the athletic one and Cade's more of the pocket passer, and I think that's true for the most part. JJ's definitely more dynamic and athletic, but I'm just saying Cade's not a statue in that even in plays that are not designed draw plays or sneaks or what have you, or quarterback blasts up the middles, that Cade can't take off and run if he's under pressure. And, instead of taking a sack or forcing a ball, that, he'll take the 3 or 4 yards if they're there. Right. So I'm imploring him to use his legs more because it looks like he can.
For sure.
Potentially.
Yeah. Yeah. And someone had mentioned having some more schemes in the playoff game, and I do agree with that assessment. Captain Banana Peel says, "How long do we have to practice? 4 weeks or 1 week?" The CFP games are December 31st, if I'm not mistaken. So Michigan's got, what is that? 4? Yeah, basically 4 weeks to get ready to rock and roll. So